Welcome to our new series, The 200 Movie Challenge. Our goal this year is to watch 200 movies that we haven't seen yet. If you want to listen to the full podcast where this clip is from, the link will be in the description. Now enjoy today's movie. What we can say, well, let's get to your fourth and final film, another horror film, and from what you told me, a horror comedy. So Soto, tell me about this movie you saw, because I've never heard this. So what is
I
it?
had
What is
never
it
heard
about?
of it either. So, obviously I'm up against the gun. I've got to watch a second movie. So what do? I text my wife and I say, hey, pick a movie for tonight. I don't care what the fuck movie it is, as long as I haven't seen it. And we were under a tight deadline. I was like, I don't care. Just pick a movie. So I come home and this is the movie that she picked. It stars the girl who worked in Sabrina Teenage Witch on Netflix. So if you're fans of that movie, you'll
The lead
lead.
actress was Melissa Joan Hart.
No, the new one that was all satanic.
Okay. I did not know that.
The
I'm
new
sorry.
one that
I
really,
did
the
not know
new
there
one
was
that
a new
really
one. I'm
leads.
sorry. I am not up to
There's a new
date.
one. If you like dark shit, the new one, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, is much more into the Satan part of things.
Oh wow.
It's
Okay.
darker. It's much more, and it was a huge hit. The only issue is that they canceled it, and there was a lot of fan backlash because it was really really well liked. Sarah loved it, but the new Sabrina the Teenage Witch is not at
Okay.
all
No, no.
like the
I was
Melissa
like,
Joan Hart.
okay. All right. Sorry. Not to interrupt.
No,
I didn't
there's
know that there
actual
was a
Satan
remake.
in it.
Okay. Say
So
okay.
worshiping Satan and all stuff. But it's like done in a TV show. But anyways, so it's a horror movie, Chad.
It is.
Okay. So horror movie, right?
Yep.
Uh got a slasher. Okay.
Okay.
Slasher has a mask, right?
Okay.
So I'm
Yeah,
checking
yeah,
off the
yeah, yeah.
boxes. Young teenage girl. Yep.
I've seen a lot of that.
Lots of
Yeah.
sex.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Teenagers have
Yeah.
sex,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
All that stuff. Okay.
Yep.
Um, you know what else it has, Chad?
What does it have, Soto?
This horror movie has time travel in it. This
What?
movie is time travel in it, Chad. And I'll tell you, the movie starts off back in 1987. There were three girls that were killed by the quote unquote the Sweet 16 killer. He killed these three girls. It starts off with a guy talking about it on his true crime podcast. This movie's like very like topical to like what we're doing in the world, but the guy's like going through his true crime podcast. He's like, and here's where they were killed, and nobody ever found him out, and he hasn't killed yet, and blah blah. And so, the main character's mom, she was one of the survivors of this killing spree. Now he kills every girl. His MO is he stabs them 16 times. Right? He's the Sweet 16 killer.
Okay.
And so her mom raises her, and her mom survives. Her mom sends her to self-defense class, and all these things because her mom is like, never again, right? That's never going to happen again. So the movie opens up. The main character, Jamie, is her name. She's going to a concert. Dad takes her to a concert, and while it's on Halloween night, and while she's gone, the Sweet 16 killer comes in and starts attacking the mom alone in her house. Now her mom's like all about self-defense and all that stuff. And a whole thing ensues, but ultimately the Sweet 16 killer comes back and kills her mom. And so she's forced to kind of reckon with this. She's grief-stricken, and she doesn't know what's going on, but guess what? Her
Okay.
friend, who is working on a school project, by the way, the school project is a time machine, all right? And so, because of course, movies, right? And the killer shows back up and goes to kill the daughter. And as they're running through this kind of funhouse area, right? One thing leads to another, and guess what? Jamie ends up in the time machine accidentally. And the time machine, by the way, is set up for guess what? The day where the killings happened. So the one thing or another, the killer hits the panel with his knife and sends Jamie back in time on the night that the murders happened. And so now she's in 1987. She is armed with a cell phone that has the podcast of like the true crime that like where everything is going to be, it tells her, what's going to happen to the killers and what to look out for.
Yeah.
And so now she has to stop these killings from happening in the past. And it's now you're thinking to yourself, I know exactly what's going on in your mind. You're like, this is the most cliche shit you could ever possibly put
Well,
into a movie. And you know what? It is. And the movie knows that it is because she's walking around and there's this one scene where she goes to the cops and she's like, hey, there's a party. You got to shut it down because there's going to be a murder there and blah, blah. And the guys are like, yeah, sure, whatever. And she was like, have you seen the movie Back to the Future? And they were like, I've heard good things. Bear in mind, this is 1987. She's like, you need to watch Back to the Future. She's like, this is exactly what my life is right now. She's like, I have been sent back and I know these murders are going to happen and blah, blah. So there's all these sort of jokes about, oh my God, this is what happened. So it's like very referential to like these cliches. And I found myself laughing a lot through this movie. I enjoyed this movie. It was dumb. Sometimes movies are dumb, and that's okay.
So
This movie was dumb. It was entertaining. Like, oh, go ahead. You have a question.
no question. I thought you were. Hold on. So I remember when you texted me this, and you did tell me time travel. I actually just forgot about it because old man brain.
Yeah.
But Soto, don't you remember earlier in this year I reviewed a movie called Time Cut?
Yes.
And basically, it's similar, just not as far back as the 80s. A girl's sister was murdered back in 2003. That's why her parents had another child, so she never met her sister. But for reasons, there's for some reason a time machine in a barn next to like the grave, and then she goes back to 2003. And yes,
Yes.
she again before the all the murders, because there's other people that murder her sister was the last one, and basically it's like, well, does she save the day and save her sister, which could change her life because she would never get born. So yes, when you
Of
told me this,
course.
I'm like, oh, we both watched because I do time travel. You just went further back in time, basically.
I
But
thought this was when I started watching the movie. I thought, wait a second, did Chad watch this? Because he told me about a movie that had a very similar plot. So I was like, having to go through your movie list, and I'm like, he hasn't watched this. I was like, it sounds like just like something he told me he watched. Like this is eerily similar.
it was
Although I think
close.
this movie doesn't take itself very seriously at all. It's very campy. It's fun. It's an excuse to have 80s music. It's dumb. The time travel logic is shaky at best.
Yep.
But I found myself entertained. The only problem I had with this movie, not problem, but it just didn't stick the landing, right? How many times have we said this? Like you have a premise, you have set things up, and then you're like, how's this gonna end? And then it ends, and you're kind of like, it just kind of took. It ends like you expect it to with time travel consequences, right?
Yep.
Um, but it was like, okay, like at the end of it, I was like, okay, like that's how I felt. Although I enjoyed it 2/3 of the way. And I thought it was really good. I thought it was going to have a different twist at the end, as I misread one of the lines, or I misunderstood her. I misunderstood the concept, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I thought it was going to tie everything back together in this crazy way. It did not. So I kind of went into left field, and the movie continued along its stupid path, and then I kind of felt like a little bit empty. But for a movie that you randomly pick and that you've never seen. It's a Friday night. I thought it was fun enough. I mean, if you like horror and you like stupid ass time travel movies, it was okay. I thought it was the word that I can use is probably cute. I will probably never watch this movie again. I mean, I know I will never watch it again because with a movie like this, it's always kind of like, how did we get there? And that's the only reason you want to watch it. The way that they got there, I was kind of like, okay, whatever. But that is again, it just threw me for a loop because I thought that you had fucking seen this movie, and I guess you kind of did, but you saw it in a totally different,
But
way.
it is
So,
similar. It is cute. It doesn't take itself seriously. I did not, unfortunately, have the 80s music because, again, she goes back in time to 2003. But again, the
yeah.
references, because obviously present day, her smartphone. So that's how she brings that kind of like with the iPod, whatever. And she brings the smartphone back. And that's how she's showing things. Like she can't obviously get online, but showing pictures and stuff. And that's how they believe. But yes, you just don't take it seriously, but similar. It's hard for these kind of movies to stick a landing, or you just have so many different ways that it's going to make some people happy and some people not. So, but Soto, you know where
Yeah.
we're going with this. Where does totally
I
kill him?
do.
And now I get it didn't dawn on me, the 80s, like totally, just it just hit me as I said it again. I'm like, oh
Oh
yeah,
my god, dude! But like the funny parts about it that made me like kind of chuckle were like, like they were they were like, oh, that's Fat Trish, and she'd be like, you can't call her that. That's problematic. Or like people would be saying shit that you would say in the '80s, and she'd be like, you can't say that. That's ridiculous. How would you? Why would you say that? You can't. You're not allowed to. You should not be saying that. And I was like, oh my god, the things that we did in the '80s
oh god,
are
yeah,
fucking
even
wild. Like
90s, oh yeah.
she walks into school. She's like, "Yeah, I'm a transfer student from like Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia." And the person was like, "Okay, cool. Here's your schedule for class." She's like, "You don't need to check my ID or like double check anything." And she's like, "No, like, what are you still doing here?" And she's like, "Oh my god, the '80s." I'm like, "The '80s were like, you do whatever the fuck you want." Somebody in the movie, I think, was also like, "Yeah, just wait until you get onto an airplane. It's even crazier because obviously you just walk onto an airplane with no issues." And
You
so
could walk
those
up to the
little
gate. The people dropping you off
oh,
could wait
oh,
at the gate, like literally right when
oh,
you got off. I remember that. Now you can't.
there are
Yeah,
movies. There are movies that show that exactly. That's like
you could do
it's
it.
different now.
Oh
You
God,
could, and
yes.
things have changed, but so that was kind of funny to me because it kind of just referenced it. But those are like it's like a one-off joke, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't really have much. It doesn't have much more other than just being like, oh yeah, that's kind of funny. That oh yeah, that's right. That is a kind of a problematic way to handle things. But we were okay with it in the '80s and in the early '90s. So as I think of this movie and as I think about it as entertaining and how this movie entertained me, uh, I'm gonna be honest. It's gonna be right under Murder Mystery. It's gonna be 31. I don't think it's a great movie, but I mean, I laughed for a good decent amount of it, and I put it up there with Murder Mystery. Murder Mystery wasn't anything that was um, revolutionary, but I happen to really think that Adam Sandler is funny just looking at his face sometimes. So I feel that this is going to be 31 for me. So might change in the future. We'll see how I feel about things, but I don't think that this movie was trying to do anything other than what it was. I just think that it had really just kind of mediocre ending, and that's kind of what killed it for me.
So before you gave your ranking, I had to look up something, and I'm going to tell you this. I was curious. I'm like, where did I rank Time Cut, or where is Time Cut now on my list? Because obviously, as we add more, it goes up and down, whatnot. So it's funny that you said 31, Soto. Time Cut for me, similar movie, is at number 29. So very close in that area. So I was like, if he says 29, I'm gonna lose my shit. But yeah, I agree
It
with
feels
you.
like it. Yeah.
It's meant to be fun, but it's a one joke pony that you can only ride so long.
Yeah,
Even though I think
right.
the 80s, you might, you enjoyed more of the 80s because that's when we kind of grew up, or that era. Whereas watching some in the 2000s, we're like, that's when we were drinking, and so a different
Oh,
time of our
I
life,
know all
basically.
the time.
Oh, but Soto,
I'll be honest. I
that
think yeah, that's exactly a great way to put it. So yeah.
but that'll do it for us. That's another episode of the 200 movie challenge. We got 4 films, all horror films this week. So
Oddly
definitely,
enough, yeah.
and a new number one for you. It's rare that we get a new number one, but you love Sinners, and that's where it'll be. We'll see if it stays that way till the end of the year. Sounds
Mhm.
of it, it might, because if it's the best movie you've seen in the last 10 years, that's
Oh,
gonna be hard to
for
beat.
real.
That's gonna be hard to beat.
I mean, I haven't simply stated on the fact that we've been saying it since last weekend. Like I saw it twice,
You did,
back to
and it
back
was over
days.
two
Like I
hours.
don't, and it was over 2 hours. It didn't feel like it. Like and I, when would I make time to watch a movie twice like that, dude? I haven't watched a movie twice since I was a kid. And by a kid, I mean like in my teens. Like like we talked about how I've seen Happy Gilmore probably like 150 fucking million times. Um, but when you really like movies, you put it on again because you want to go for that ride again. And we started this to watch new movies and get ourselves caught up. And I kind of wanted to see if I could recapture that kind of vibe. And halfway through our little experiment here, I was lucky enough to find a movie. So, and Sinners is definitely it. It's gonna be tough to beat. It's gonna be tough to beat with 6 months left.
We'll find out. We'll continue this next week. I don't know what I'm watching next week. I don't know if you have an idea of what you're watching, but as usual,
Oh, I don't.
we just go on streaming services and find some good movies, or as you usually say, just press play. But join us next
Exactly.
week because I think, yeah, we'll be going to episode 23.
Ooh.
Second year, our second half of the year. Excuse me, not second year, second half of the year. We're gonna hit this strong. So anyhow, have a go and let us know in the comments of anything you thought. If you're still listening, or tell us a movie you want us to see because we'll watch it. We may not like it, but
Yes.
we'll watch it. But
So
have
we
a good
do.
one, people.